Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today we'll be discussing the AP Top 25 preseason poll, which is the official poll that they'll go into the college football year with. We cover the coaches poll, and that one was somewhat debatable. I overall liked the rankings. I thought everything was good. I had some flaws in the schedule not schedule, but the list that I saw that I thought should be changed. And I would way rather have that list than this one as of rankings, the top 25. And first of all, we're going to go over some nominations for this top 25 that should have been on this list that aren't on this list. And I don't know why they're not on this list. Because because the Associated Press is stupid. Did they not watch the last part of last year? Did they cut off their TV at the end of week 10 and not realize these teams were good at one point? For example, South Carolina's not in the top 25. You cannot tell me that they beat two top 10 teams, they should be two top 10 teams, one of them on the road and one of them by 25 at the end of the year, and then barely lost to Notre Dame in the bowl game, and you're telling me that this team shouldn't be in the top 25 over these other teams I'll get into? I don't understand that. I don't understand why Arkansas is not in the top 25 when they showed they dominated against Ole Miss, and a lot of their games that they lost were because of KJ Jefferson being hurt, and they had some flaws throughout the year, but a lot of their games were very close, like LSU and Texas A&M, that a little bit goes the other way, they win. And UTSA, they should be in here. University of Texas, San Antonio, they've been very good. They need to be in here too. Respect the below Power 5 teams. Respect them, because they've shown to be really good before. They have really shown to be good before with Cincinnati. I mean, they made the playoffs more recently than the Pac-12 have. So what are we talking about? But let's get into the top 25 here. At number 25, you have Iowa. How is Iowa up here? They show they have no offense. They have an extraordinarily good defense, but if you can't score more than 10 points, they can win many games. They have 7 games last year when they didn't score at least 20 points. Majority of their games, they didn't score 20 points. They played South Dakota State at one point and scored 7. They did win because their defense is just that good, but they suck at offense. They got Cade McNamara. I would need to see that to believe that he's going to be the main difference at Iowa at quarterback. At 24, you got Tulane. This is a decent spot for Tulane. I'd put them a little bit higher, in my opinion, because they did beat USC last year in the Cotton Bowl, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that was the bowl game. I know they beat them. This team is very good. They deserve respect. And again, respect the below Power 5 teams. And you got Texas A&M at 23. A&M, I'd put them at 25, in my opinion, because A&M could easily just fall out, but they easily could just be way higher. You're putting them over South Carolina, though. In my personal rankings, I'll probably redo. I had South Carolina, I'm pretty sure, at number 20. Something like that. Put them in the top 25. A&M at 25. You're not telling me A&M's a better team than South Carolina based off last year. You're not telling me that. You think Connor Wingman's going to be a big difference? No. Would you rather have him or Rattler? I'd pick Rattler. I'd rather pick Rattler's South Carolina team over Wingman's A&M team. So here we go with number 22. I'm not happy with this list. Number 22, Ole Miss. That's a fair spot for Ole Miss. That's actually a great spot. They showed to be a top 10 team at one point last year, then they fell out the rankings completely. And then you got North Carolina at 21, fair spot for them. They need to prove themselves too. Drake May is one of the best quarterbacks in the NCAA. Mac Brown is one of the best coaches, but they need to prove themselves defensively. 21 is a pretty good spot. I might have to say that I don't think they're better than Ole Miss, but you can flip those two around. I don't really care. That's a fair spot for both of them. You got Oklahoma at 20. Oklahoma, I'd put them a little bit further back. I might put them at top 25, but 6-6 last year, that ain't good. That ain't good at all. So I don't know why they're in the top 25 instead of you just look at their legacy. I mean, they've had great legacy led by Lincoln Riley, who was at USC, so he's not there anymore. So I don't know why they're getting this so much favoritism to being in the top 20 over teams like Ole Miss, who last year proved to be actually a top 10 team at one point, or Tulane, who beat USC. Lincoln Riley led USC with Caleb Williams, so it was not just playing scrubs. Wisconsin at 19. If you heard me talking about the coaches poll, I don't know why they're in the top 25 instead of Luke Fickell is there. I mean, I guess that's the best reason why, but you saw in their spring game, I forgot the guy's name, a quarterback. I'll show a picture of him. He threw 4 interceptions. 3 of them were his fault. 1 of them wasn't, but 4 interceptions in the spring game. His quarterback play does not look elite. Their offense is going to be different, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be good. Because of that, number 18, you have Oregon State. That's a fair spot. They lost some defensive production from last year. And because of that, I mean, they're not going to be great, but 18 is a fair spot. TCU at 17, I would say TCU should be in the top 15 at bare minimum. They made a national title game last year. And they beat your old Wolverines. They beat your old precious Michigan team. And they beat them fair and square. There was a little controversy, but they allowed 52 points, I'm pretty sure, to TCU. That is a lot of points. So because of that, TCU should be higher, in my opinion. I'd put them in the top 15. You just made a national title game. I don't care you lose by 58. You made it. Like, okay. You made it, though. Yeah, Kansas State at 16. That is a fair ranking for them. They did lose Deuce Vaughn, who's a huge loss. And also, I do know TCU lost a lot of their guys, but still got the coach, and you still made a national title game. Not everyone's lost. And you also got JoJo Earl and Trey Sanders. So we got a lot of good guys with them. And Chandler Morris at quarterback, who looks pretty good. But Kansas State doesn't look half bad. I like them at number 16. Oregon at 15. Not a lot of debate about that. I like Oregon at 15 with Bo Nix and them. Good spot. I like them at 15. You have Utah at 14. I'm perfectly fine with that too. I think that was a very fair spot. They can't really win out big games outside of their conference, but they dominate their conference. So, and they're Power 5. So I definitely put them in my top 15. 14 is a good spot. Notre Dame at 13. I love Sam Hartman. If you've heard me on my channel before talk about Sam Hartman, you know I'm a big fan of his. I love him at Wake Forest, and I still think he's going to be very good here. They need to prove themselves with them with Marcus Freeman at the head coach. They need to prove themselves still, even more. Yes, even more. But right now, they don't look half bad. 13 is not a bad spot. I might put them a little bit lower, though. Here's when things get really bad, in my opinion. Tennessee at 12. The logic on this is heavily flawed. They're not better than Texas. I don't think, if you said who's better, Tennessee or Texas, you would pick Tennessee. Who's better, Tennessee or Washington? You'd probably pick Tennessee. Tennessee or Clemson? Well, we saw what happened last year. You beat them by 17 in the Orange Bowl. I don't know why they're number 12 and Clemson is way higher than that. I don't understand that, but okay then. Nothing's going to change until they start winning, and they will. Let's go Rocky Top. I am a Tennessee fan, by the way, so yes, I'm a little more frustrated about that than anything else. But we got to prove themselves even more, I guess. So let's be in the top 10 when they play Florida, by then at least. Need some things to go our way, but next team up could lose. Texas against Bama. This Texas team is very good. Not this high, though. Tennessee actually proved to be good. Texas has not proved to be good since Colt McCoy was there. That's been a minute. And I don't understand why they're so high. Put them at like 20. Put them in the top, put them at 15 to 20 range. Not top, barely outside of top 10. It's too high for them. That's way too high expectations. I've seen fans of Texas complain about them being ranked this high because it puts so much high expectations on them. I think they're this high because it makes them, whenever they play Alabama, more of a marquee game than it was last year. Even though it was a marquee game even though it was a big game last year, it's even more this year. If you put them that high, they're almost guaranteed to win game week 1, and you're going to get a high-ranked matchup in week 2. You got Washington at number 10. The top 10 that started, Washington number 10. I like Washington. I really do. I like Michael Penix. I think they are deserving of a top 10 team. And I'm not saying that Tennessee is just outrageously better than all of them. I don't think Washington's a bad team at all. I think Washington deserves to be in the top 10. But I would put Tennessee in the top 10 too. But Washington with Michael Penix, their offense looks very good. Their defense is somewhat of a question, but they show them win big games. And if they play more consistently, which I think they will, I think they'd be a pretty good team, to be honest this year. Number 9, you got Clemson. Clemson should not be ranked this high. I mean, it could be ranked this high, but again, I just described when I talked about the Orange Bowl. Clemson isn't half bad at all. I like their defense. Their offense either prove themselves. Cade Klubnik got to prove themselves against Duke. And then you got Florida State at one point, pretty soon afterwards. I think week 4. So, watch out for that. But if you're a Clemson fan, you should probably win the ACC again and possibly make the playoffs. Watch out. Talking about Florida State at number 8. Kind of a surprise, to be honest with you, have them over Clemson. Florida State's, again, not proven anything significant yet. They've not won the ACC title game. I don't know the last time they ever made it to the ACC title game. It's been a minute, though, since probably Jameis was there. How do you have them at that high over Clemson? Put them up behind Clemson, and we can start talking there. But until they prove themselves, I wouldn't put them in the top. I wouldn't put them above Clemson. I'd probably put them in the top 10, but I'd probably, was they actually prove themselves, kind of. They proved themselves, they got 10 wins. Quarterback looks really good. They proved themselves some. Not like Texas, who hasn't proven anything. Proved themselves some, so yeah. Penn State at number 7. Penn State at number 7. I like Drew Aller. I do like the run game. I love Nick Singleton. He looks great. And I think this team's going to be very good overall. So I'm excited if you're a Penn State fan. I love James Franklin as a coach. This team deserves to be in the top 10. So probably top 7, which they're ranking number 7. Number 6, you got USC. USC, Caleb Williams got the best, arguably the best offense in the country on this team, just scheme-wise, too. You got the best player and the best schemes because you got Cliff Kingsbury and Lincoln Riley. That is some of the best offensive minds in all of football on your team. And that'll help. That'll definitely help. Now we're into the top 5. I think we know who the top 5 is going to be. Number 5, I got LSU. I don't got LSU. They got LSU at number 5. LSU is a very, very spot at this point. I have no problem with that. I think LSU is very good. I think they'll be extraordinarily good this year. I love their defense. Mason Smith and Harold Perkins will dominate the SEC. I like the spot at number 5. Jaden Daniels is supposed to be a Heisman guy. He ain't going to be a Heisman winner. He ain't going to be making it. He ain't going to go into New York. He ain't going to New York. And in the top 4 Heisman candidate? No way. But he's a very good quarterback. Just not Heisman level. Alabama at number 4, no problem with that at all, in my opinion. You got a great run game, probably the best in the country, or at least going to be. And one of the problems is your quarterback, which is a big problem. Everything else is great, though. That's probably not near the top 2 because of that, because of their quarterback problem. And at number 3, you got Ohio State. Kyle McCord needs to prove himself. But you got Marvin Harrison Jr., you got TreVeyon Henderson. You got a very good defense, very good offense. So I'm perfectly fine with them being at number 3. Michigan at number 2, not a surprise, a new one, J.J. McCarthy. You got a very good defense. You got a great offensive line, Blake Corum. You got Donovan Edwards, great guys there. I like them at number 2. Then Georgia at number 1. That's not a surprise. Only question is Carson Beck, how he's going to play. But they're back-to-back national champions. Kirby Smart's a great coach. They got great guys around him. Brock Bowers and Landon McConkey. And this great defense of theirs. So I have no problem with them at being number 1. I don't think anyone should be. So yeah, I definitely showed some of my critiques with this list. Put down in the comments what you feel about this. And yeah, hit the like button if you like this type of videos. We cover all this college football stuff and football in general usually. Hit the subscribe button if you like this type of stuff. Hit the like button. Comment whatever you want. Give your own review and your opinion about this. Hope you all have a great day. Stay safe, y'all. And God bless y'all.